Hi, this is Dr. Kimberley Linert, and you're listening to Incredible Life Creator Podcast. My guest today is Robert J. Moore, and Robert J. Moore is a therapist, 5-time internationally awarded bestseller, speaker, business coach, and a publisher with over 100 published books, and a recognized publisher with Ingram, working in one of their top programs, Lightning Source. A Guinness World Record holder and nominated for Walk of Fame, won the Honorary Doctorate Degree 2 times, and has impacted the lives of many through the work associated with magnetic entrepreneur income. Welcome to the podcast, Robert.
How are you today?
I am doing great.
Thanks for having me, by the way.
Yeah, so excited to get into this and let people hear your story, where you started out, how you're doing now. And, we were talking earlier, people need to have the hope that even if life is rough right now, it can be better. It could definitely be better.
Well, everybody's interpretation of having a rough day or a crappy day, if you will, is different. Everybody's interpretation of success is different. You know what I mean? So when you look at overnight success, like I was saying earlier, success is something that you interpreted to be either small or big. But the thing is, our brains are set up to fail, right? Our brains are set to fail. And the reason why I say this and know this is because I'm going to start a little bit in the middle then I'll jump right back to the beginning, because when I got clean and sober going on 16 years this week, I went and got my education. I got my social service worker diploma, my dictionary degree, my BA in psychology, my master's in counseling psychology, my harm reduction mental health crisis, and the numerous awards, right? 2 honorary doctorate degrees, lieutenant governors, and a whole whackload, author of the year. But the thing is, I don't utilize that the way I used to. I used to be a therapist for 15 years and a counselor, but I didn't do that to help other people. I think I did it because I had to help me. So all the schooling I had, it was weird because I didn't go to school until I was 31 years old. So there was people in there 15 years junior to my age. And it was like, oh man, they're all smelling like alcohol, parties, and I'm trying to be clean and sober. So when I picked the topics about, my thesis was on anger. I was an angry person. And a lot of people say to me now, do you ever stop smiling? And I said, then I tell them I'm intoxicated off my own exuberance of verbosity, which means high in life. You know what I mean? I said, I don't have to be captured in that little spell again. The alcohol and the drugs were capturing me to keep me hostage, as well as I was keeping other people hostage that were with me, because it was like, I was friends with them because they had booze or drugs or something. But when the reality of it all came out, I was alone. You know what I mean? Like they were never there when I was in jail. People don't understand that either. There's another thing to look at. I did 16 years in and out of jail. The reason why I did that is because I was trying to be somebody else. The booze and the drugs were just a cover-up to the way I really was. It was a feelings I couldn't identify that really got in my way. So now I'll go back to, I started drinking when I was 13 years old. The old stubbies I had, it was an OV, and the other one was a Labatt's Blue or something. Man, they taste awful. It's like sandpaper, but I drank it because I felt when I had that big burp come out of the bubbles and that, it's like drinking a Pepsi or something. It felt invincible. It felt like I can open up. It felt like I can speak my mind now and nobody can really see me. It's like when people put on glasses, they can't see it because it's a window to the eyes. Well, you can see you. It's just how we feel. When you feel someone staring at you, nobody else can feel it. And I had to learn the hard way on different things, on how people's judgments to me, I had to accept. I mean, it's like going to a ball game. Let me just put a little joke in there. Go to a ball game, you're in the first or second row, and there's 50,000 people in the stadium. One guy stands up, says, hey, David. You stand up, look around, can't find him. 2 more innings go by. He does it again. You stand around, look around, you can't find him. Next thing you know, you do it in the 9th inning. And then you stand up and say, my name's not David, it's Robert. You know what I mean? So there's a self-centeredness, right? About people thinking it's all about you. And really, if you knew how many times people actually thought of you, you wouldn't really care. It's not even worth it because they have nothing there for you. They may only think if you cross your mind about 2 seconds worth. So I had to learn to strengthen my mind on that. I had to learn to live without the booze and the alcohol and the drugs. So it was a rough go on that one.
So what made you change from being on alcohol and drugs and now
you know
you're not?
What? I think I skidded across the bottomless pit for maybe 15 years. Because you figure 13 years old to age 31, I drank and drug. And in between that, I lost a lot of people. My common law wife, the mother of my 2 children, died right in my hands, giving birth to my child. It was really different. And I experienced my cousin dying, my uncle committing suicide, and a few others with the drugs and alcohol too, the people I used to drink with. But as time went on, progressed, in 2001, I lost my older brother to drugs and alcohol. In 2015, my other brother died of an overdose. 2020, my other brother died of overdose. Now, just recently, my other brother gets life in prison. I got nobody on that side no more. No parents. All the parents are deceased. So they're all watching me. They're all around. But it's so sad that I couldn't be that mark, the benchmark for my own brothers. And I don't blame myself for it. I don't do that stuff. I don't go into that. But I just seen how depressed they became. And I couldn't do anything about it. He did go to when I won the Guinness World Record over here, there it is, the other way. He did go and he actually helped me win that one. And he says, get back on stage. He goes, I love you when you're on stage, man. That's amazing. I've never seen that before. And I'm speaking in front of hundreds of people. And he's like, man, he says, I'm only used to seeing you drink and drug and be you know what I mean? So he said, but this is a side I've never seen. He goes, I'm excited, but I don't think he knew how to accept it. I don't think he knew how to accept it because when you have your emotions, when you're coming down, you're unthawing your emotions and it becomes overwhelming. And we always go back to what we feel comfortable in. So I was in a pool of crap that I was comfortable in, all the negativity and everything around me, and I didn't know how to get out. So I had to do the walk of shame and do it. I just had to somehow do it. And I did it.
Was it just like a major decision?
No, some people think I'm overly nuts when I talk about this part of it. I decided I wanted to help. I felt like there was acid in my throat. I decided to phone the detox. Say I needed a crisis bed. I want in there. I need to get in now. I need the help. But on the way back, it's really weird because on the way back, I had no booze on me or nothing. I was on a bus. So I decided, I just heard the other guy talk about, oh, Robert, buddy just got out of jail today. And I wanted to go see him. I haven't seen him in a few years. I said, well, you always go see him with a few beers. Right. So I said, well, if I'm going in detox, I might as well do it right. I might as well put one more out there. Typical alcoholic, you know what I mean? So I don't know how I did it, but I conned the lady on the bus for $20. Right. And then I got off the bus and I said, okay, I'm going to go. So I'm talking like this out loud. Well, I looked around and I looked at the hospital and I said, well, the beer store's over there. Maybe I'll just go to the beer store, get a 6-pack or 12-pack, just go see my buddy and then go into there. Because I was in denial about the fact of what I had to do. Mm-hmm. I was scared of what was unknown. And then I heard this little girl say, he needs help. A little girl, tiny little girl say he needs help. Right. And it never clued in. But then a second later, it's like, wow, what did she just say? That was kind of true. I went back to look at that lady. I said, man, where's the little girl that was with you? She goes, I don't have a little girl. I said, okay, sorry to bother you. And that's why I'm saying people think I'm nuts because you have some sort of epiphany or an angel or something to get me in. So I walked right into the hospital and he says, we were waiting for you. So got in there and The thing is, the reason why you go into the hospital first is because when you withdraw from the drugs and alcohol, you get DMs. You can actually die from that. The tremors that come along with that, it's all in your brain there shakes. Your brain there vibrates, right? So what do you really vibrate? It's your whole body in there. It's your nerve system. Your central nerve system's all twisted. So you could potentially die. And the tremors come along. You have to go on Valium or something that they give you just to hold that down. And then within a week, you'll be able to eat again and be able to get the things up. But you're basically throwing up for the week anyways. And feeling rough.
It sounds really, really rough, but you did it. You got yourself in there and you did it. And then, you said your overnight success was like 15 years. So how did you go from that day in the hospital, throwing up all week, to speaking on the stages you're speaking on with Jack Canfield and others?
Yeah, there's not many people I really haven't spoken on stage with, like Kyle Wilson, Jim Rohn's ex-business partner, Jack Canfield, Mark Victor Henson, Les Brown. I actually coached Les Brown's daughter, Dr. Joe Vitale, a lot of these people I speak on stage with. I had to do the work. I had to go to get my education. Here's the thing. When I was being coached by Eric Thomas and sharing stages with him, the hip hop preacher, he said to me, how bad do you want to breathe when your head's underwater? What are you wishing for? You're wishing for the air, right? And I said, yeah. I said, I want it bad. He goes, then listen, put your dreams from your head to your heart. He said, when you put it from your head to your heart, there's a motion behind it. If there's no motion behind it, you are not going to achieve it. And it was so true. And then he taught me another thing: give everything away for free as much as you can. I said, well, that doesn't make a lot of sense. How are they going to work with me? Just listen to me. He goes, I'll get up 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I'll do some content on video and put it on Facebook. I'll put it on YouTube. I'll put it on Twitter. I'll put it here and there. Everybody sees me. Les Brown will go do one, but he'll sit there and say, okay, now if you want to order a CD, you got to wait 6 weeks in the mail. He says, I'm giving it to him right then and there. Mm-hmm. He says, the thing is, now they want to work with me because I'm giving it to them there, giving it to them free. He says, you go into Metro or A&P or something like that, one of the grocery stores, they're sitting there. I mean, they got the crackers and cheese thing out there. You're trying it out. Wow, this is good. And then all of a sudden he says, okay, on the shelf over there, it's $4.99. Go ahead. It's the exact same thing we do. Give the content for free. Can you imagine what you get when you actually pay for the services now? If you're actually getting that part for free, it's intense. Now, I'm not afraid to speak my mind. It doesn't matter who to. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter who to. As long as I'm in the right, I've been known to be wrong. Come on. You know what I mean? But as long as it's tangible, I have tangible proof what I'm talking about, I'm okay. But I mean, I've been known to kick people right off my own stage, famous people. You know, I just kind of turn the music up, say, hey, what do you guys think of that? They don't like it.
Time's up.
Yeah, either your time's up or you've said something to offend my audience or something, right? Mm-hmm. I had one guy tell me, listen, he goes, you know what, if you ever kick me off the stage, I'll tell you something right now. You'll never go back on one of my friends' stages. I said, your friends always come to my stage, so what's the difference? Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, all the people from the movie The Secret, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, they're all personal friends of mine, mm-hmm. right? So they all get on my stages, right? I'll host an event, and it just, I fill the room.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. I love that. It's just making me laugh. It is reminding me when I was younger, I was a DJ on a radio station. You know, if you just want something to just change, you just fade into something else. You know?
That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. I mean, I had to learn the hard way. I mean, the coaches I picked weren't slouches. I've had Les Brown sit me down and say, hey, listen, you know what? You're doing things all wrong. And he told me it was hard. It was a hard pill to swallow. You ever get on the phone? You're on the phone, or you ever hear someone and they're criticizing you, critiquing your business, and you feel like you want to run, you want to hang up and run. Where are you going to run to? That was the question. I was on 6 o'clock in the morning on the prayer line, right? I am a Christian, so I'm going to say on the prayer line with Eric Thomas and the boys. And they picked me to critique my business. And man, did they critique it. You know, I had it all arse backwards. I didn't realize it, but I mean, I had it all arse backwards, and my priorities were mixed up. They were all, they weren't the right ones. They focused that on real quick. And then I felt like I wanted to run. I wanted to hide. Well, where am I going to run to and where am I going to hide to? I can't really go anywhere. Plus, if I get back on the call next time, they're going to be there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I just kind of swallowed my pride. And I was like, I didn't know if I wanted to hit a wall. I didn't know if I wanted to stomp around the room, throw a little tantrum. I didn't know how to feel. I just honestly did not know how to feel. It was one of the first times this ever happened to me. So then I just said, okay, I'm going to accept this. And I started taking notes. The week after, I said, could I talk to you guys privately? You know, instead of the other 1,000 people that are there. Mm-hmm. So we did. And that's basically when my dad died. And I taught Eric Thomas, taught him a lesson, because I didn't realize how much I really depended on my father. I think we all do. We just don't realize it, our parents. So for instance, what do I mean by that? It's not that I depended on them, because I what do they call them? I retired my parents. I retired my parents, and you know, that was a gift. But how I depended on them, they owned the RV. I didn't know how to turn the water on the outside, like underneath, or how to hook it up to the hydro. I didn't know nothing about it. I didn't even know how to drive it. It's AZ, mm-hmm. Right? It's all air brakes and everything. So it's like, how many times that weekend when he died, I walked around in circles, that whole vehicle, knocking on the window. Hey, Dad, can you help me with this? Hey, Dad. And it's like, Dad's dead. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I was depending on him. So when I was saying that, Eric Thomas said, you taught us a valuable lesson today. That's valuable right there. I didn't understand exactly what he was talking about at the moment, but when it digests and the funeral was over, I understood. I had to ask, I felt like a weirdo. I mean, how do you plug the thing in? I didn't know. People think, oh yeah, I just grabbed the plug, go. Where's the plug? You know what I mean? You got 8 compartments underneath on both sides. It's a regular bus. It's an RV. You know what I mean? A 40-foot RV. Wow. And I had to learn that stuff. I own it today. It's up at one of my houses, right? So I mean, it's okay. I mean, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Well, talk about that. Talk about getting support when we need it. So, you know, sometimes we're running our ship, especially entrepreneurs, and we think we're doing it right, just like you thought you were doing it right. But sometimes we need that support.
You know, it's like publishing. I was the most stubborn person when it comes down to not spending money. Well, I guess some of the people say I still am, but at least I have an understandable, you know, here's the thing. I did not want to put my money into a publisher. No way, Jose. I did not want to put my money into a publisher. I said, I'll do it myself. While doing it myself through Google, I got it done. It took me 2.5 years, and it cost me over $50,000. The publisher only wanted $4,000 or $5,000. And I'll tell you the reason why it cost me $50,000, because when I went to self-publish, there was a company that was helping with the self-publish. It wasn't Amazon. I won't say the name of them to discriminate them or nothing, because I think God will take care of them himself, right? And what happened was they were giving me, oh, you only sold 3 this month. You only sold 2 this month. Meanwhile, it was my understanding is because I saw the receipts coming in from the libraries. When I hooked up to the hub in the library in Canada, they started going to all libraries, asking for 2 or 3 books at a time, because they wanted 2 for the back room and 1 for the front, right? So they had 2 different sections. They do it. So they're telling me, oh no, you only sold 11 this month, and like $200 worth or something like that, my royalties were. And then they come back to me and say, oh, we gave you $100 too much. And then I'm looking at all my emails. There's over 500 books ever sold that week. So I went to a lawyer, and he says, well, here's what you do. Forget about it and walk away. I said, why? He said, tell them you want all your book stuff back, because if you went to sue them, they're a small enough business to claim bankruptcy and have a new name tomorrow. And that's all they'll do. You'll be out of your money, and they'll automatically be open again tomorrow. They're too small of a business. So then, lo and behold, I am a publisher now with over 100 books. And, you know, I published some pretty famous people, some pretty high-end people. And I deal with a lot of people get to do forwards for people too. You know, like Todd Stoudemire, the Blue Jay pitcher, World Series, good friend of mine too. He did a forward for me. So a lot of people do forwards. You just don't realize. You have to be somebody though. You have to have your credibility a bit out there. Mm-hmm. I'm writing a book right now with Serena Brown Travis, Les Brown's daughter, and Les Brown's actually writing the forward.
I know. So what do you love about publishing?
The fact that, see, one of my coaches was Ted McGrath, Teach Me How to Tell My Story. I worked with him for about a year, and I got to learn how to tell my story in a proper way that touched people. That, see, there's two different ways to tell your story. You can just tell your story just because you want to get it off your chest, but are you really going to attract anybody? No. You're going to attract people if you put the emotion in it, you have them walk through with you, you put it in the present time instead of past time, right? There's different ways of doing it. Now, if you're looking at doing your story and putting it in a book form, it's like a testimonial thing that you're doing on yourself. So don't go over 10 chapters. Doesn't make any sense, because then you got a novel, it's going to be way too long. You can't sit on the plane and read it. You know, it'd be a dictionary, for crying out loud. It's up to you how long you want to do it, but I'm just saying from experience. I've become international bestseller on numerous occasions, almost this close. New York Times bestseller, Wall Street Journal, I hit once, you know, for the bestseller. But I'll tell you something. It wasn't easy to do it because I had to swallow a lot of pride. You know, you get that thought process. Well, oh, it's okay, I could do that. I was an alcoholic, so no problem. I'll be a counselor. I could do a counselor now. The things I had to learn to become that counselor was just wow. You know what I mean? I thought just because I was a drug addict, alcoholic, I could become a counselor, no problem. I did become it, but it was a problem. All the things in between didn't add up, and it was just so hard. You know, so but I did it.
Yeah. So when you were actually being a counselor and people, you know, especially being new at anything, like one time I was a new doctor, but, you know, people would look at me and they look at how my age and they go, when's the doctor coming in? You know, because I look so young. But you had something else in your background. You had this 15 years of drinking and drugging, and now you're going to give someone advice on how to live their life. How did that happen? And did people ask you about that, or did you have to prove your credibility? Or,
you know what? I'm not the kind of person to hang my credibility on the wall, unless it's that one right behind me there. The thing is, okay, I could be called doctor right now with ONS. You know, I got more credentials behind my name than my actual name is spelled, right? I just use Robert J. Moore because I want people to see the authentic me. I don't want them to come to me and say, oh, the doctor said do this, the doctor said do this, and it's got to be right because the doctor said it. Well, when you look at, not to discriminate them, but when you look at all these magazines and it says the guy with the PhD said to do this, it's never been tested before and you're the guinea pig. That's how they're testing it right there. All this medication, when I did pharmacology, all this medication is not being, I got tested on rats, big deal. Well, it's rats compared to humans, a big difference. So now when you get it out there, oh, it's a new drug. Yeah, they're testing you. That's the test right now. They're doing it through. There's scientific stuff right now, you know, and people don't, a lot of people don't understand that. It's because, oh, doctor said this, doctor said that. Get a second opinion. My advice, get a second opinion. Because a lot of people believe the things because they have doctrine from them. So that's why I left it all out. Not to offend anybody or whatever, not to, you know, the people that gave me the credentials, not to disappoint them, but I didn't do it for acknowledgement that way. I did everything I did right now, basically, to help other people, empower other people to enhance their lives. And when I'm enhancing their lives, empowering them, I see how happy they become and they know how to tell their story. They're up on stages or they're writing books to become international bestsellers. I'm happy. That makes me happy.
That is beautiful. And talk about authenticity, because you're very authentic, but how important is it for us to be authentic, not only with others, but with ourselves, and just to know who we are so we can actually be that?
Let's look at this. If Nike changed that, would you recognize them? If it was a zero, if it was like circle or zero, you wouldn't recognize them, would you? So it's a lot like credibility. You have to build yourself up to have the trust, the credibility, people trust you, people say authentic things about you. You can't go to Walmart wearing your PJs if you're doing one thing a different way. You know what I mean? So if I'm dressed like this right now, and all of a sudden I go in there wearing some kind of weird outfit or something like PJs, one outfit that's fully outfit like that, or some kind of bummy outfit, it would not be very sunshineable on my future. It's like when I was growing up and I was dying. I had no money back then, going through school. All these people going to the food bank. Well, I went there once, but the guy two in front of me, the line on two in front of me, you know, he said, I need to go see counseling. And he said to his buddy, he goes, I need to go see counseling. He goes, well, just go to the counselor right behind us. He's going to the food bank. That shows you how good the counselors are. Oh. So that really put a damper on the way I was thinking of it. And then I was talking to Les Brown about this, and he says, were you hungry? I said, there were several different ways I was hungry. He goes, but were you hungry? He goes, I'm not talking food. He goes, food you can get anywhere. Were you hungry? Were you hungry to move forward and be the successful person you are? I said, yes. He says, then why are you letting other people's opinions become your reality? I said, good point. Good point. From that day, I never went back to a food bank. I never had to, right? Because I just focus on the passion I have. And here's the thing. You focus on the money, you're broke. You stay broke. If you want to focus on something, focus on what you have inside you and bring that up, whatever it is. Whatever you have inside you that is talented and that you know you do exceptionally well. You know what? I might have all this education. I'm going to warn you one thing. All this education, I could have went a different way. I had to do call to action videos, call to action posts to find out what my community needed. That's where I put the passion. Once you have a solution to a problem, now you have a situation that you can handle. You have people coming to you, but don't overwhelm yourself with, oh, I got to do this. Oh, I got to do that. Oh, I got to do this. I studied 52 of the top achievers just to take one piece of each to make me who I am today. One piece of each.
Wow, beautiful. So talk about that call to action. So if you're out there doing videos or you're on Facebook or wherever your audience is, and you're basically asking them what it is, what do you want? Do you just keep asking until you figure it out, or is there a?
Well, you got to ask different questions. You can't just ask the same question. I mean, it's kind of boring answering the same question. Get to know the audience. Get to know the people watching you. If you only have one or two people watching you, it's going to be repeated later. No big deal. So hypothetically, I'm doing a video right now on Facebook, and I'm ending off my conversation, right, and my teachings or whatever I'm doing, and I sit there and say, listen, you know, I've told you a lot about this, or this. Now, please feel free to put a comment below and let me know how you would handle a situation like that. That's a call to action. Now people have to be engaged, right? Not a yes or no answer either, by the way. If you do a yes or no answer, that's not engaging. It's actually moving the people away from you. You don't want a yes or no answer. You want to engage them. Every time someone does a post underneath, you go in there right away. Boom, boom, boom. Write what you have to write. If not, invite them to a private chat. Get to know them a bit. Maybe they don't want to work with you. Maybe they just need to release some pain. Sometimes it's just a little communication. That's why I give 15 minutes up front. For the 15 minutes, then I tell them I charge.
But that's beautiful. And, you know, even how we met, we had a lot of friends on Facebook, and I said, we have a lot of friends on Facebook. There must be something that's in common that we have. You know? Yeah,
there's got to be something. Yeah, there's just 143 or something, I guess.
Yeah, it was a lot of friends. So you must run in the same circles with the same people, or at least have the same ideas about life to have that many similarities.
Yeah. Well, I've noticed several of them on your friends list that I'm acquainted with at the same time. I mean, most of them are my students.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really exciting. So now we were talking about earlier before we get on, you have your podcast and your coaching your students, and you've got your publishing, but there's something in the works that's really exciting, the TV. Do you want to talk about that TV?
Well, I'll talk briefly because I haven't signed totally everything over yet. I have been offered a TV station on my own for 2 years because I'm doing exceptionally well. Plus, I think when people do that, they know what I'm going to bring to the table. If they're going to sponsor me to do something like that, mm-hmm. they know I'm going to bring something to the table that's going to enhance both of us, not just one. So they're giving me something like that and they're sponsoring me to do that. Then that goes to show inside of me, it's like, wow, I'm really achieving something here. So I want to talk a little bit about achievement and the success part we mentioned earlier, because before we get to my actual success, how did I get there? How did I focus on that? I had this focus on the smallest, and I mean the smallest goal. And when I quit smoking, it's going on 14, well, maybe clean sober 16 years, it'd be 15 years, no smoking. And I was like a devil's advocate on that because I put one in my mouth this way. I was dying for a cigarette, man. I wanted that cigarette so bad. I was sweating so bad. I was like crying, sweating. And one would go in the mouth like this, and the other one would take it out, and I'd crush it. I'd crush it like this in the garbage pail. And then I look at, after I'm done it, I look at the garbage pail and I say, well, I'll just roll it up like I did it when I was in jail. I'll just roll it up and smoke it. So then I got my pop and I poured it in there. And then I rolled in a ball and I said, this is the first time I've ever did an honest to God prayer in my heart. I said, there's truly a God out there. Prove to me, man. I don't want to smoke no more. I don't need this no more. And I rolled up in the ball and I fell asleep for about 5 or 6 hours. I woke up. I honestly thought I peed the bed. I was sweating so bad. I was sweating so bad. I thought I peed the bed, but I had never had a cigarette since. Never even had an urge. It was the weirdest thing. And I'm telling you, man, it was the hardest thing. It was harder than the drugs and alcohol to come off of. But that was the moment. And that was it. After that 5, 6 hours, that bed was drenched. I know I didn't pee. It was just sweat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So talk about faith and what piece that has in your life.
I believe in faith so bad, I married her. That's the truth. My wife's name is Faith. So when you look at faith, I mean, I'm not a hardcore nut on it. I don't go around preaching or nothing. I believe in my heart. And plus I'm married into a Christian family. So when you look at the situation, even my mother-in-law says, Robert, one of these days, God's going to take care of that tongue of yours, because I get a trucker's mouth at times. But you know what? That's me. That's part of my personality. I told her, I said, I don't need to take that away. I said, that's part of my personality. Leave it there, you know? And she just shakes her head. She knows how successful I can be. I'm very oriented and fast thinking when it comes to business. See, what happened is I fired my whole team 4 years ago. And I wanted to learn every aspect of the foundation and structure of my business. And I did that. That's when I started hiring the top of the top. Armin Moore, the top strategist in the world. I actually flew down to his house, stayed at his house for the weekend, and he's the top strategist, top marketing person in the world. He went from $1.53 to 200 million a year. You know what I mean? So when you're learning something like that from a guy like that, you want to make sure you learn and put that in the foundation and structure of your business. So then I hired other people and learned from other people. I went to see Tony Robbins. All these people, I always take pictures of them. I got 1 or 2 pictures of them, but I don't show people. I don't care. What I did was, if you've seen the video, I used a part where he said I was doing exceptionally well as a tool to utilize what I'm doing. So that gives it the credibility it needs to help build me up. But I didn't use it to, oh, look at me like other people would. I like to keep that stuff personal. When the time is right, it will come out. So I look at it this way. Success is, it could be inch by inch goal. And then I learned I had to go bigger. I had to go thicker. I wasn't feeling the first, you win something big for the first time and you got that excitement.
Mhm.
I was chasing that excitement.
Yeah.
And then someone said, I think it was Jim Rohn in one of his videos that time, because I was being taught by Kyle Wilson, his business partner. He says, you only believe what you can catch, right? You only believe what you can catch, because I wasn't open-minded. So if I can catch a ball, I believe in that. If I couldn't even believe in the wind at the time. I thought it was just some kind of weird things going on. I was really disoriented with the things that are going on in my life because of drugs and alcohol. It's almost like I had to relearn. Well, here's the thing. I had to learn quick. The outside world hit me 100 miles in the face, and I wasn't ready for it. I was not ready for it. When I sat down and started really learning, I put my faith in there. That's when I really started putting faith in there. And I looked at people like Kim Sue Berg, who talks about the solution focused therapy. She doesn't talk about the negative you've been through. She talks about the focus of what you're doing well. What can we do better next time to make that more achievable? And that's the kind of things I learned while doing. I've been on so many different TV shows. I spoke in front of 2.1 million people before. The Turning Point in 2020, the top doctors in the world were on there. You know, I was one of the coaches that were invited on there. It was really nice. Plus, I was the publisher for them. So it was really kind of cool. So
It's really, really cool. So I'm sure as you're speaking, some people are thinking, gosh, I'd really love to work with him. So how do they contact you, get a hold of you? What services do you have available for people right now?
Nope. I'll tell you something. It's not hard to get a hold of me. You Google Robert J. Moore, you won't miss me. You Google Magnetic Entrepreneur, you won't miss me. But my email, magneticpublishing2017@gmail.com, or go on Facebook, look Robert J. Moore. Right beside it in the brackets, you'll see Magnetic Entrepreneur Inc. Or you can go to my business page, Magnetic Entrepreneur Inc. Or you can go on, I don't use Twitter all that much. It's there. I think it just floats, but I do use LinkedIn a little bit. And it's actually on there as Magnetic Entrepreneur too. So I've done exceptionally well with the things I'm doing. I do publishing. I always get people up. I always add things in differently in the publishing world to really excite people. And I won't tell people what they are here right now. They come to me, I could work with them. See, what I do is I utilize their skills and their stuff that they're doing and the way they want to do it. I utilize and make surprises for them. I add bonuses in, but you can't do that for everybody the exact same. You have to get to know the personality. See, I know with all the psychology and everything I know body language, tone of voice, physiology of the expressions of the face, and different things, right? So if they're writing, I could tell the tone is in that. I can tell the tone if they're talking, just different things. And it allows me to be the expert and help them out, enhance in different ways. Not just put a book out there and have it out there. And mostly I'm usually cheaper than most people anyways, even though I got a lot of different programs in there. I have one coming up right now. I don't know when this is going to be totally aired, but I have one program right now till October 2nd. Full deal. You can get your cover done, your book done, your editing, publishing, everything. Everything you can think of too. You just write the book, I'll do the rest for $1,500.
That's really amazing.
That's just because I want people to get out of COVID. People are lacking money right now because of it. People are struggling. It's only a one-time deal. It'll never happen again. And the thing is, I'm not offering it just to the people that are coming in to sit with me in the face-to-face one. I'm offering it to anybody in the world. So if you pay the $1,500, get a hold of me, pay the $1,500. If you look on Eventbrite, look at Magnetic Entrepreneur, it will be on there. It'll explain it to you. And you know what? October 2nd, it closes. It'll never happen again. I've had a plethora of people come in, and most of them are offline. They're not going to be there at the event. I don't care. I don't care if I'm the only one sitting there. I've already rented the room. I don't care if I'm the only one sitting there in that table, because then I'll just make programs that day. That's all I'll do, is I'll just make programs.
I just love how flexible you are. It's just refreshing.
Yeah.
It's so refreshing.
So, I mean, you got to think of it this way. I mean, you got to use the time. If you're going to be there working anyways, why not build something out of it? Don't get mad. I remember my first event ever. When I did my first event, this is going to make you laugh. It was in Canada, and I had this big school. It was one of the big schools out there. I rented their room, and I invited 300 people. I thought for sure, oh, I'm the man. Hey, everything's going cool, man. It's going to be full. 4 people showed up. I had food for 300.
Wow.
Food for 300 there, and I was the man going sour real quick. But I'll tell you what, I utilized it. I utilized that, and I brought it to right where it is today. I'll tell you how. I put all 4 people right here in front of each other. I had the cameras there and everything. And I started placing the food on different chairs, because acoustics in the room would be less bouncy all over the place, right? And wouldn't sound so echoey if you have the food on the chairs. So I got rid of a lot of the chairs, 300 chairs. We went down to 100. And I started putting food there, coats there, and everything else. Now, the people that were sitting right here, 4 people, all right, I put the camera right behind them. So it looked like the room was full. You can't really tell. So I'm standing there talking, and these people are right in front of me right here. And I'm over here like this. Yes, you in the red shirt. That's what I was talking about. Like, just kind of went with that. And it's like, people thought I was talking to a full room. So I acted like there was 1,000 people there. And then the next event I had 25 people, then 100 people. Now I could fill a room.
I love that story. That is awesome.
You know what? When people have a problem with expectations, one of the worst enemies I'm going to tell you right now is your expectation. If I focus on, well, why didn't they come? Must be me. Did I do something wrong? Who cares? Right? Who cares? They didn't come, period. Do something to make it up. So now you look at the situation, you get online, you sit there and say, man, that room was full. It was full of food. I'm not lying. I'm not lying. So I tell people it was full. It's a heck of a good turnout. Can't wait to see you at the next one. Get your tickets now. Scarcity. Right? Scarcity. Just like I told my PR the other day. He's making another program. He says, Robert, he goes, I'm doing this other program out there, and it's going to be a boot camp. And I said, listen, how often are you going to run? He goes, oh, once a week I'll run. I said, no. I said, if you want people to go into it, you got to make them think that you're only doing it once in a while. I said, this is a free tip for everybody out there listening, right? So I told him, I said, do it 3 times a year. Tell people you're only doing it 3 times a year. If you want in, now's the time. Or you have it on sale for that price. And that's the time to get in, because you have some pretty top people in there in that program. So you don't want to mess around. So I would say, hey, listen, I got a month away from doing the program I'm putting out for you. Both of you do an introduction video of what's in it, the content in it, and then sit there and say, it's only for so many people to come in. We'll get a discount of this price, and the price goes back up, but I'm only doing this 3 times a year, and this is one of them. Now you look at that scarcity. Nobody wants to wait to the next one if that's what they want, right? And the price would be right, because they lowered it down.
Exactly. Yeah. Beautiful advice. Thank you so much. So here's a personal question I ask everybody who comes on. What gives you the most happiness and fulfillment right now?
Seeing my family happy, seeing everybody else happy. I don't struggle. I don't struggle for anything. I might have questions I need to ask my coaches, but honestly, I get really excited when I see my students get up there. Like Les Brown's daughter, she never did a keynote speech before. I flew her down personally. I flew her down, got her up on stage, and she killed it. She had a hard time filling that 35 minutes though. She got up there and she talked, and then we worked together afterwards, and she was like, wow, That was my first opportunity. You know what I mean? So, and there was many more afterwards, and there still is. So when you look at situation, don't be so hard on yourself. A lot of people, listen, your worst critic is yourself. Oh, I didn't do this right. I didn't do that right. They're thoughts. They're thoughts. My advice is, instead of writing a journal this long, I'll teach you a little trick. Anybody that's out there as a doctor like yourself or anybody else would know this one. When this happened, I felt like this because, boom, end of story. Now you identified an emotion. When you identify an emotion, you get to categorize it in your brain. So when that feeling comes up again, you know how it feels. Well, myself being a drug addict, alcoholic, I had to get rid of all my emotions, break them down to I didn't have any emotions. I was a raw shell, and I had to rebuild them to put different meaning towards them. And that's what I had to do. So I come up with the EBO system, the emotions, behaviors, and outcomes. And that you can find actually on my LinkedIn page in my categories there. You'll be able to see one in there. It's a beautiful thing, man. A lot of people love it. Or what I'll do is I'll send it to you personally, and you can attach it to the video somehow if you want.
Okay. Yeah, that would be great.
It's very, very short, sweet, and right to the point.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for being on today. It's been
No
fun.
worries.
It's been refreshing, and just loved everything you had to share. Thank you.
I'm honored to be here. And, you know, for those people that are struggling out there that think they don't have the chance to be at the level I'm at or level you want to be, let me tell you something. What I follow, even though I see all these successful people, they might die off. Their legacy might live, but they might die off as a human. Here's what I do. If I'm still alive, I'm still able to do this. I focus on myself 10 years down the road. That's the kind of guy I want to be. That's the guy I want to be, and focus on where I want to be, how I want to be, and what I want to do. Now I chase that guy 10 years down the road by doing the work in between. I've had people come up to me and say, "Did you ever catch up to yourself?" Like they don't understand. I said, "How can you catch up to yourself when you're 10 years in front? Don't look at the guy behind you. Look at the guy in front of you. Use yourself as an example where you want to be." And I'll tell you something. And make a difference.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much. And we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Cheers.